As the country digests the news of the superseding indictment in the classified documents case against Donald Trump, we're waiting for another shoe to drop, a third federal indictment, this time on charges related to efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Jack Smith's grand jury met on Thursday, but left for the day without an announcement of criminal charges, a move that came after Trump's lawyers met that morning with prosecutors for the special counsel and were told to expect an indictment. But Trump took to social media to say in part that no indication of notice was given during the meeting and that he expects nothing to come down related to January 6th. We'll see if he's right soon enough. The grand jury is expected to meet again on Tuesday. Joining me now, Dave Aronberg, state attorney for Palm Beach County. Dave, welcome back to the show. So why do you think we haven't seen the all but probable January 6th indictment? Could Jack Smith be gathering more evidence before announcing charges?
Good morning, Jonathan. Yes, I think the grand jury is hearing additional evidence. Remember, Bernie Kerik, who worked with Rudy Giuliani, gave up thousands of pages of documents just recently. And there's other witnesses appearing before that grand jury. So they may be waiting until they hear everything. They don't have to. They can go ahead and indict right now. But instead, I think they're going to wait to hear more. Also, Donald Trump's lawyers apparently got a meeting with Jack Smith's team. And so as a courtesy, I think the DOJ is going to digest what happened at the meeting before they move for an indictment. But make no mistake, an indictment is coming.
And Trump said on his Truth Social platform that, quote, no indication of notice was given during the meeting with his attorneys and the special counsel. What does that even mean?
You know, I stopped trying to decipher the former president's social media posts after he did Covfefe. I mean, that alone, I didn't know what that meant either. So, no, the DOJ doesn't have to give you notice. They give you notice that you're a target as a courtesy. They don't even have to do that. And then when they're about to indict you, they're not going to necessarily give you a heads up. They will call your lawyer to tell you that the grand jury has voted and the indictment is being unsealed, and you have to report to court. So if Trump thinks that he's going to get a whole bit of advance warning of everything and maybe a courtesy shuttle and a red carpet into the courthouse, he is mistaken.
So, Dave, let's talk about that superseding indictment in the classified documents case and the new obstruction charges. Part of the indictment relies on an alleged conversation between fellow defendant maintenance supervisor Carlos de Oliveira and another employee about deleting security video. And I want to show this back and forth in the indictment. De Oliveira told Trump employee 4 that the boss wanted the server deleted. Trump employee 4 responded that he would not know how to do that and that he did not believe that he would have the rights to do that. Dave, talk about the significance of this revelation.
I mean, Jonathan, these guys are so bad at this. You know, this is amateur hour. You're talking about obstruction, which is punishable by up to 20 years in prison. Obstruction is also really dangerous for defendants because it leads to other convictions. Because why are you obstructing? Why are you trying to destroy videos? Because you know you're guilty. It's consciousness of guilt of other potential crimes, like crimes under the Espionage Act. This is all bad for the former president, but I'm just mystified at how bad these folks are. I mean, they're sending texts to each other with the hush emoji. They're meeting in bushes outside of Mar-a-Lago, and they're talking about loyalty tests to each other as if they were Pauly Walnuts. I mean, why don't they just type, I hope the FBI is not listening? It's so bad.
You know, I had to reread that part of the indictment 3 times to make sure I was reading what I was reading. Emerged through the bushes and talked to Nauta, who was on an adjoining property, and then went back through the bushes. I was like, wait, is this for real? One more question on this. The fact that Trump employee 4 not only said he didn't know whether they knew how to do that, but he didn't think he had the rights to do that. Is that as significant an admission or revelation as I think it is in terms of showing Trump's guilt?
Well, I think they already had him dead to rights. I mean, this is the strongest case, I think. The Mar-a-Lago documents matter. And this is just icing on the cake. This is running up the score for Jack Smith. Now you have an additional defendant who can flip and point the finger at Donald Trump because he spoke to Trump directly. But Jack Smith doesn't even need that. He's got Evan Corcoran, the former lawyer for Donald Trump, on this matter. He's got his notes. So I don't think he needs it. But yeah, it is bad when the IT person is saying, hey, I can't do this. I can't destroy it. And also, the IT person is not charged here because he's cooperating. So I don't feel so sorry for Nauta and for D'Oliveira. I know a lot of people are because they're under Trump's thumb. But remember, these guys lied to the DOJ. They lied to prosecutors. That was their own choice to do so. And that's why they're being charged. And that's why others are not being charged with them.